Yo, thank you for clicking on the video. I'm Who's Mans. I just like football. I'm here to teach you the X's and O's of the game. I'm not here to teach you the glitches and the exploits and things like that. Not that there's anything wrong with that. If you guys are new, go ahead, hit the subscribe button and the bell so you never miss an upload. And let's get into it. All right, so we're gonna get into quarters coverage. There's a couple of people that I know that were asking about match coverage, so I'm going to get into everything. I'm going to talk about quarters, palms, a lot of the different split coverages like cover 6, cover 9, and then I'll get into cover 3 match as well. I would get into cover 2 match, but it's not in the game this year. You really can't run it. I mean, you kind of can, but you can't run it. There are ways to run cover 2 match as well, but I'll get into that last. And I'll spread this out over a while because I'm in the middle of the air raid. So I'm going to do this the same as I did the air raid, where I'll kind of explain this right now and then go over some gameplay after this one this week. So as you guys see, the corners are in mod technique. That means man on demand, meaning basically they're not going to be playing man on them all the time. If one goes underneath at all, then they will play back and they will zone out and look to help on 2 or what have you. As far as the safeties go, the 2 to 1, they're reading 2 and then 1. So if 2 does not go vertical, then they'll look to 1 and help out on 1. And if 1 and 2 both go underneath, then they'll look for help coming from the other side. As far as the quarter flats, 2 to 1 is also the same. If they don't go vertical, if they go anywhere outside, then they'll help outside. And if they go vertical, then they will wall them off. They'll kind of like take them up the seam a little bit, I would say about close to 10 yards, and then they'll look for anything underneath coming from the other side. And then the wall defender in the middle, he's going to look towards the strength, so he's going to look toward the 3 receiver side. And by 3 receiver side, I'm talking about the back as well. You see how I have them numbered. He'll take anything coming across the middle underneath and just kind of stay over top of it and follow it. But yeah, that's how it's read. Now, each side of this plays, separate from each other. It's called split field coverage. But yeah, that's how that looks. And then we're also going to show you the techniques that are out there, just because it helps as far as separating your run front from your pass, your run front from your pass, that section there. So on this one, at least in the nickel, we have 2-5 techniques. We have a 1 and a 3. The 3 technique, I usually like to put the 3 technique away from the back. Reason being is the 1 technique usually takes up the double team. That frees up the backers to flow over top. Another thing that you want to look for is the alignments of everything. So Madden does the quarter flats a little weird. They should be head up. But the cornerbacks are going to be about 7 to 8 yards off the wide receivers. The safeties are going to be about 10 to 12 yards off. It really depends on what coach is teaching it, but that's how it usually is. The backer is just going to be over top of what gap he is. In this example, I'm showing you guys is 4 verts, but I would suggest you guys practice on 4 verts to see how things work out, because if you can't guard 4 verts, then you're in trouble. All right, so in this example here, both 2s are running out routes at about 7 yards. You're going to see me draw this up on the screen here. They do out routes at about 7 yards, which means that the safeties are going to look at both of them since they are technically going vertical. And I'll say this just so it helps you guys if you ever want to play the safety, use the safety as your user. Anything over 5 yards is considered vertical. So they will take those players. if you're going to play match coverage and you're going to use anybody, you've got to know what everyone's doing, because you can mix it up and confuse your opponent. Now, the corners, like I said, they're man on demand, so they're going to be playing man on these outside receivers, the number ones, because they're going vertical, and then the Mike, once again, is going over the middle to help the running back on that angle route. All right, so we're going to let this play go on a little bit, and you're going to see that break starts at about 7, and they are way downfield, so they're about 10 yards downfield. The safeties, you see both of them are going to be kind of inside and over top, while the quarter flats usually play with an outside leverage. Now, the right side isn't as great, but the left side looks really great, so that's how that's going to look. This next example, you're going to see that the out routes break under 5 yards. That is no longer vertical, so the safeties are going to turn to look at to help at number 1. They're usually going to play with an inside technique now, and the cornerbacks should be playing over top, and usually they just play over top, kind of head up, because now they have help with the safeties. Once again, like I said before, if you're going to play if you're going to use anybody, you really got to understand what's going on with each position. Match coverage is such a great form of defense, just because no one usually is just left uncovered, and there's no real gaps in the defense. Now, I'm not going to say this is the greatest thing, because there are ways to beat match coverage in real life as well. All right, so this next example, you see both ones are running underneath and 2 is going vertical. And that means we got to look at the cornerbacks. They're playing a mod technique. What does that mean? Man on demand, because number 1 is no longer going vertical and 2 is. They're going to kind of carry them inside a little bit and then work up to number 2. They need to help them out. They're not going to go across the field. They're not playing a Meg technique, which means man everywhere he goes. But once again, the safeties are looking 2 to 1. If 2 goes vertical, they'll take 2. And we know that both 2s are going vertical. So you're going to see how this plays out. And you're going to have a nice little bracket on number 1. So you're going to see they get depth, go inside a little bit, and now they got eyes on number 2. And that helps out because the quarter flats now can carry those drags coming from number 1 and carry them over to the middle linebacker who's walling. All right, so on the left here we have a smash concept, and on the right we have a levels with a back going to the flat. So we're going to go over it. So we're going to look here. It's a 2 to 1 read. We know on the left side we're going to have to read 2 to 1 by the safety, and the corner is playing mod. Since 1 is staying under, he's now going to look at number 2 and help. We already know that because number 2 is going vertical on a corner route, the safety is going to follow him. So you get a nice bracket on that corner route. The quarter flat is going to go over to the number 1 to help out underneath, since he is technically outside. And then on this right side with the levels, number 2 is not going vertical and number 1 is. So we know because the corner is mod, he is going to take number 1 vertical. Number 2, or the safety, doesn't have anyone vertical, so he's going to now bracket number 1. Now the number 2 becomes a new number 3 going across the middle, so the Mike is going to carry him across the middle of the field, and then the quarter flat is going to take the running back to the flat because he now becomes the new number 2. That's the easiest way to look at it there. All right, now in the case that no one goes vertical, you'll see what happens. It kind of it basically will zone out. You're going to see all 4 safeties just kind of backpedal, and then what's going to happen is you're going to have a bunch of you're going to have your 3 underneath defenders just kind of walling off and trying their best. But if everyone stays underneath, there's a mismatch there. All right, so now we got quarters coverage against 3-by-1. I think it's important to understand what to do against different sets, because a lot of people may come out in trips, they may come out in different things like that. So here you're going to see your solo cornerback is playing Meg on the wide receiver, man everywhere he goes. That means no matter what route they run, they will play man. If they go underneath, they will play man. And then if they go deep, they'll play man. Same thing with your backside backer over top of the running back. He's playing Meg. The safety and cornerback are still playing the same kind of coverage. The only difference is now the free safety, who is over top of or opposite of the wide receiving strength, the receiving strength. He is now going to be looking for any crossers coming from the strength. So he's going to look at 3 first and then kind of move his way over to 2 and then to 1. So if 3 does not go vertical, he'll look to 2, but usually he'll look to 3. And you're going to see that here in this 4 verts. 3 goes vertical, and you're going to see he takes them. Same thing with that backside backer. They're taking them all the way. And then we're going to look at the middle linebacker. He kind of walls number 3 up the field, but he's got to make sure that nothing else is going across the field. You're going to see the cornerback on the strength is playing mod, but since 1 is going vertical, he's taking him up the field. And then the safety is reading number 2 as well. Number 2 goes vertical, he's taking him up the field. And then that quarter flat is going to stop carrying number 2 and then help out with the backer. In this example here, you're going to see number 1 goes underneath. And this goes back to the number 1 on the passing strength. The corner is playing mod technique. So once that wide receiver goes underneath, he's going to then help out on number 2. And that's what you're seeing there. Number 2 is going vertical, so the corner is going up with him. And then obviously the safety is helping. Same things are going on. The only thing that changed was number 1 is going underneath. Then we're going to move on. All right, so in this next example, 1 and 3 goes underneath and 2 goes vertical. So you're going to see once again that corner is helping out number 2. The free safety is now looking to see if there's anything else coming across the middle. There's nothing, so he's going to help kind of help bracket out with number 1 on the backside there. That's really the only other thing. So honestly, I always recommend people to use the free safety in these situations opposite, because you're going to be able to help out a little bit more with anything going across the middle, especially because you're going to have everything covered backside or on the strong side. So that's just my little word of advice if you're worried about that safety, because he usually has less of an assignment both in quarters and palms. When it comes to 4 strong, there are no 4 strong checks in Madden, so they play drop zone. If anyone doesn't understand what drop zone coverage is, it just means they go sit in their zones and they make sure that nobody, gets a pass in that zone. They're not matching anyone. They're not trying to do anything special. They're just sitting in their zone and making sure no one's there. So if you ever see 4 strong and you're playing quarters or palms, just know that they're not going to match anyone. All right, now this is a bunch. It doesn't look like the bunch that most people are used to. This is specifically called a dirty bunch. And the check that quarters coverage uses in response to a bunch is called a box check. And basically what happens is you're going to take your mic and your quarter flat, your corner and safety, and have a 4/3. I make a mistake on the drawing here. I realized I swapped the mic and safeties assignments, but the quarterback is playing first outside. Your cornerback is going to be playing second outside. Your safety up top is playing second inside, and then your mic is playing first inside. As you see, I marked the safety as first inside, and then the mic is second inside. Flip those 2 and I'll kind of mark it again for you guys. But now as far as the weak side, the 2 stack receivers, usually they're going to be playing a Zorro check, which means it's still a first inside, first outside kind of check there, and then your quarter flat is going to help out on the first outside. But they don't do that. They just kind of man up whoever's going vertical there. So you're gonna see here the quarter flat on this instance takes the first out, and then both the corner and safety take number 2 deep because they're playing regular quarters checks on that one. So I wish they would have a Zorro check for stack sets, because it would help out a little bit more, especially when people like to do the streak by number 1 and corner by number 2. It causes a lot of chaos there. If you would like and to make this easier for yourself on that backside, I would put my quarter flat in a just regular corner curl flat, sorry, and that zones out the backside, and it would play a little bit better, especially for that street corner combo. And then you could use the curl flat and kind of help out with the corner route. So that would be my answer to that, and then let the bunch side play out a bit better. As you see there, the corner route is taken by the corner, and because he is the second out, and then you go from there. So that's that. Hopefully this explanation of quarters helped you out. Like I said, the next video is going to be me with some gameplay using quarters and showing you guys how that works out for a lot of different things, because it's one thing in practice, it's another thing in the actual game. So I'll do that for you guys and move on to palms, and then we'll go from there. But thank you for watching. If you have any prayer requests, throw them in the comment section below, and I will keep praying for you, and hopefully everybody else will too. And I'll see you later. Peace.